The Liverpool Reaction, an American LFC podcast, starts now.
Welcome, everybody, back to an LFC podcast. This is Coach Ralph and I. We are back, baby, after two long, boring weeks.
Very long weeks. Yes.
I couldn't even get into the FA Cup games this past weekend.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, another derby, right? I mean, blood and guts, possible red cards, offsides, goals. Liverpool's performance also shaky, but at the end of the day, Diogo Jota bailed us out. Still 12 points ahead of Arsenal, and you got to give it to Everton. They defended pretty well. 73% to Liverpool. They countered pretty scarily, actually, when they countered, but we got over the line. It was a tough game, but really, while I was watching this game, I was just thinking, I just want the 3 points. I don't care how we get it.
Yes, I mean, it was very much the game that was predictable. I mean, like, the only difference was it wasn't a draw. So yeah, I mean, Everton are on a good run. They always raise their game when they play against Liverpool, and they're very strong defensively. So you have to give them credit because they block enough shots. Like, they'll really throw their bodies on the line. But I think from a Liverpool perspective, you're right. I mean, obviously it was important to get the 3 points. Liverpool did. Was it a vintage performance? No. Second half was better than the first.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought Everton did quite well in the first, but maybe not quite so well in the second. And I mean, it was a derby. It was a Merseyside derby, tight, not much quarter given. I think there should have been a red card to Tarkowski. Liverpool, I thought, actually started the game quite well. And then there was the incident, and I thought Liverpool lost their way after that, after the stoppage.
Yeah.
Started to give the ball away. But when the incident happened and then they showed it again, I thought, definite red that. Apparently not. I've seen VAR give reds for a lot less than that. So yeah, I think Tarkowski was very lucky there. I mean, it was a vintage 1970s tackle where you follow through and you leave your studs on the man, just to let them know that they're in a game. But they don't seem to allow that anymore. And I was kind of amazed that he didn't go.
Yeah, and the commentator was kind of saying he's old school and that he thought a yellow card was all that was warranted. I mean, poor Mac Allister. I mean, he gets jump kicked by Doku last year, against Manchester City in the box, no call. Damn near breaks his leg. That was high up on his shin too. That could have been a clean snap. And no red card here. And I mean, I don't understand at all. Coach, remember last year, Curtis Jones went over the ball and he got a red card for that. I mean, this was way worse.
Yes. Yeah. Look, I've just been watching all of the English pundits over across the Atlantic, and it's pretty unanimous that it was a red card. But anyway, I mean, look, the VAR thing's never going to change, I think, until they actually reform refereeing generally, and then they have a dedicated VAR staff, and they keep talking about players doing it, and I think that that's a good idea. You'll always get some level of controversy. I don't think that that's ever going to go away. But I thought that one was pretty blatant, but didn't get it, and the game went on, and after that, I think I think for Everton, I think Beto's underrated, actually. I mean, he was causing Liverpool problems. He was causing problems. I mean, he was offside. I'm not sure that they needed to draw lines on it because you could see it by the way that the field was, had been mowed.
Yeah.
But there wasn't much in it, like, to be fair, but you could see that he was offside. So he was a little unfortunate there. And then when he hit the post.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was causing problems, but I felt Liverpool kind of pulled it together at the back in the second half, much better, because I'm not sure that Everton really created that much after the interval, and it was Liverpool, the team that was pressing, as you might expect. First half they didn't create much. And I think the tone, in some ways, even though I thought Liverpool started well, I mean, like, they won the ball in midfield, and the ball went down to Salah, and he had a great overlapping run by Jones, but he didn't give it. And I think that if he had passed the ball, then the ball goes into the box, and that really amplifies the tone because they'd won the ball in midfield. But I thought Salah overall again was pretty poor, to be honest with you. Pretty anonymous, I'd have to say.
Coach, when the lineup came out, it was interesting that we went 3 in the back. And towards the end of the game, when Everton was kind of pressing, Curtis Jones slid back into that right defender spot just to help out. But with Trent and Bradley being out, I think Coach Slot and Quansah are not seeing eye to eye on his performance and what he needs to do, because that was a very interesting tactic. I also thought, though, maybe he's also doing this because he knows Everton's going to park the bus, and we probably only need 3 in the back for the majority of the game. But like you said, Beto, since David Moyes has come to Everton, he's been playing very well, and he's big, he's physical, he's quick. You're right, he is underrated. But how do you make the 3-4-3 formation?
I'm not sure that they played 3-4-3. I mean, basically, I think that what he was trying to do, and it's something that I hadn't thought of, was he was trying to replicate some of the qualities that Trent Alexander-Arnold brings to right back. Basically a midfield type distributor. And one thing that Everton didn't do was they never really put pressure on that side of the field. And I'll be interested to see whether he puts Jones there at the weekend. So I don't know whether it's a question of Slot and Quansah not seeing eye to eye. I think he was trying something that probably in his mind was kind of a creative solution to missing some of the qualities that Trent brings to that position. But I don't think Curtis Jones is the greatest defensively. And I mean, Fulham have some good wide players. They have some good wide players. And I would be surprised, or maybe not surprised, because he doesn't like to rotate a lot. And I think that's one of the things that I'm starting to feel now that we're coming into this last phase of the season. And so at the end of the year, when Slot looks back and he thinks about all the bits and pieces that have gone into the season, I'd love to ask him the question, could you have rotated more? And I think he's come from a place where he hasn't had to rotate a lot previously, or maybe he hasn't had enough choices, but he has plenty of players who I feel could have contributed more. So you've got Endo, you've got Elliott, you've got Chiesa. There's a
Gakpo, yeah.
Well, obviously the Gakpo, again, I'm not quite sure what's going on there, whether the injury is more serious than we realised, and he's having to nurse him back gradually.
He played internationally, though.
Right. So again, I don't know what the thinking is. I don't know what the thinking is there. Because Gakpo was on really good form prior to getting injured.
Mm-hmm.
And he seemed to favour him over Diaz at that particular point. But, I'm sure that there's a rationale, but I feel, and I mean, it's my opinion, and I know other people are saying it as well. I think he could have rotated more. Now, I've heard some people say, well, this is proof that more players should have been signed because he doesn't trust his squad. So possibly, but I mean, these are proven players. Like I've done it for Liverpool in the Premier League before, and okay, there may be some modifications to Jurgen Klopp's system and what have you, but I think that has in a funny way cost them over the course of the season. But having said that, I don't think that you complain when it's looking more and more likely that the league title is coming back to Anfield.
Yeah, well, now they'll one game a week. Generally speaking, I know they played today and they play on, I believe, Saturday. So that's other than that, I mean, they're going to have plenty of time on the training ground, plenty of time for rest. Mm-hmm. So in theory, after and last time with the South Americans, obviously the Nottingham Forest loss was when they came back. I know they had a little bit more time with them in Liverpool, but they seemed okay though. It didn't seem like they were leggy. Luis Diaz, he was struggling to come up with something, but he was running pretty hard. Mac Allister was running the game well too, so I guess it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that it was an issue so much because they did have a lot more time than the Nottingham Forest game. So I don't think that was a problem this time around. I just feel that over the course of the season, it does start to feel maybe that Slot might have, given more opportunities and time to players who are proven. But having said that, I think there's too many things in Liverpool's favour when it comes to the title now. 12-point lead. They've got a lot of games at home, and I mean, Arsenal have to go to Everton actually on Saturday.
Mm-hmm. And they lost Gabriel and Timber.
Oh, did they? I didn't Timber, but I knew they'd lost Gabriel. So
yeah.
I mean, but the issue with Arsenal is that they don't look like they're going to score a lot of goals, and Everton does defend well. So that'll be interesting to see how the Gunners cope with Everton at the weekend.
At least from Arsenal's standpoint, Saka's back. He got on the score sheet yesterday as well.
That's true.
But the defense now, I think they have 4 defenders on the injured list, and tough time for that to happen. But I guess realistically, it's Liverpool's title, really. I mean, 8 games left. They say, I think 13 points from 8 games. It could be over, sooner than later. I mean, it literally could be 4 games and that's it. It's over.
I mean, look, Liverpool could go to Fulham at the weekend and lose, and they're still 9 points ahead if Arsenal wins. So, so they've got plenty of breathing space when it comes down to it.
Makes me nervous though.
Yeah. I mean, I think after the first half it was a bit nervy, but I thought Liverpool picked it up after the halftime break and what have you, and I think that they contained Everton better, and they look more likely going forward. As I said, it wasn't a vintage performance, but they certainly had the edge.
Coach, back to the rotation comments that you made. I thought at the beginning of the year that Slot was substituting a lot. Like Trent wasn't getting 90 minutes every game. Connor Bradley would come in and get, say 20 to 30 minutes. And he was rotating is not the right word, but he was substituting effectively where he was giving people 15, 20 minutes rests every game. But does that impact a player from the intensity of a game the same as just going the full 90? Or what are your thoughts on that?
Well, it can do. I mean, at that point they were certainly playing 2 games a week, and he made a concerted effort to share time for the fullbacks, both
Right.
Trent and also Robertson as well. So, but that was really the main area. I mean, he's played 4 midfielders over the season. And obviously, they're the players that have to get through the most work rate over 90 minutes, probably.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not rotated a lot there. And I mean, with hindsight, I think both Endo and Elliott could have done more, played more. So I guess it's a criticism of sorts. You can't really fault him for what's happened in the league, but kind of hearing him talk, I think he's disappointed that that maybe that they didn't pick up another trophy. And I've certainly heard him voice. Well, he learned something about the FA Cup, and I think that's something that Rafa Benitez, going way back. I think foreign coaches don't always understand the FA Cup, so I think he learned something there. But I think it's going to be an interesting off-season for Liverpool, because, I mean, I can think of reasons why they might not want Mo Salah to come back. I don't.
It's tough to say too, right? With the season he's had, but there's been a drop off the last month or so.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think there's a few different things go into it. I mean, obviously age is one thing, but he certainly looks after himself, and you can look at the Lionel Messi's and Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo and what have you, playing until later because they look after themselves. So I think Mo Salah comes into that category. But I think there's a couple of other issues as well. I mean, if he has a diminished role, will he be able to handle that? And I think that might be questionable. And then the other thing, and I've heard a couple of other people now start to point this out, like they lose him for part of every other season because he goes to the Africa Cup of Nations.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if he's wanting more money or if he's wanting a longer contract or even both. So whilst it seems silly, as it were, to not cement his place on the team, I mean, maybe there's other considerations as well that maybe we as fans don't see so easily, because we aren't out on the training field every day. We aren't in the changing room. We don't know what goes on. And obviously, there's something holding up. There's something holding up, and probably it's what he wants, and then Liverpool aren't prepared to give it to him. So I've just given a couple of things that maybe could be valid or maybe not valid, and there's other reasons as well that we wouldn't have party to.
Yeah, when you mention him in a diminished role for the money he wants, if that's the idea of, a year, 2 years contract, and he wants, $300,000 a week for a diminished role, if that's what the executives are looking at, and Edwards and company have a very good analytic program over there, so they're probably seeing stuff, and but I just can't see paying him and then giving him a diminished role. It just doesn't make sense. But I'd mentioned throughout the year that it seems like he's lost a half a step, but he's still quick enough and very skillful, and he's been in the right place at the right time. He's had an amazing season, but I was talking to a friend of mine. I was thinking, did he just lose his other half step now? But again, he takes care of himself. He's still a very good player, but I think I'm wondering if it would be addition by subtraction. And what I mean by that is if Salah goes, now the goals are spread around and not everybody's looking at Salah to make things happen all the time.
Yeah, I mean, look. Players are always replaced one way or another. Maybe they're not easy to replace. I mean, but once upon a time there was Fernando Torres, Luis Suarez, Michael Owen. You can go through the history books of the last few decades at Liverpool and at other clubs as well. So there'll always be somebody that'll kind of come to the fore eventually.
Mm-hmm.
As I say, one of the issues that I see, I mean, I think he's a good guy, Mo Salah, but he has more of an ego than I think anybody else that's on the squad. And so, he doesn't like to be substituted. And so I wonder whether Arne Slot, when he goes away and he sits down and thinks about the season and says, right, okay, if we're going to defend our title, our league title, and if we're going to go for other silverware as well, then I have to have a squad where everybody, as it were, is flexible. Like sometimes they're in, sometimes they're out, they share roles, so on and so forth. And I'm not sure that Mo Salah's willing to do that. And I mean, while he does look after himself, I mean, I think there's no question about that. It's just natural that as you get older that you do lose that half step.
Mm-hmm.
And then players know how to play against you. And like there's all different things that come into it. And I mean, he's certainly been able to look after himself over the 7 or 8 years, whatever it is at Anfield. And his stats every year are very good. Do I think he would replicate them next year if he stays on? I don't think so.
No way. I mean
good. Like you could well get another 15 goals or so, and he could certainly contribute. But if that means that he has to drop down to the bench more, then it might be an issue from the point of team dynamics and what have you. So we don't see that directly. We only have a vague sense of what happens, but the manager will know, and then obviously the like the director of soccer or whatever the position is for Richard Hughes, Michael Edwards company.
Yeah. One thing we do know is that we can trust the analytics and the approach that Liverpool generally has towards building a team. It's responsible. It's not throwing money at it. They look for deals. They use their analytics to see how a player from one league would translate over to the Premier League. They assign scores to them. It's very fascinating the way they do it. And I'm wondering if there's some underlying numbers about Mo Salah's performance this year that is indicating that this is just something out of the blue and it's not repeatable. So I'm curious to see how this is approached coming now the off season, and I wish there was a little bit more. They shared a little bit more, but I can understand from their standpoint. It's almost like a trade secret what they do, right? They don't want necessarily everybody to be executing the way they do, but it's difficult because I think when and if Mo Salah leaves, I mean that's almost the end of an era. That's it. Klopp last year felt different, obviously, but the performance now that we're 8 games and the Premier League is in sight here, it just seems like a good sending off. And the fact that Trent's going to be going, I mean, that's all. I mean, everybody's reporting that one's done practically, and it's just interesting how it's all going to boil down. But but Coach, you said it best. Players are replaceable. I mean, it's the fact of life too. They get old or they move on, and then we got new blood coming in. So, from that standpoint, it'll be exciting this summer.
Yeah, I mean, I think we expected this year to be the transitional year, and so now with the benefit of some hindsight, I think Liverpool appointed a good manager, a sensible manager. and he had a good squad. I mean, Jurgen Klopp left him with a very good squad.
Mm-hmm.
So even though I'm questioning whether he's used it to its the full possibilities, I do question that slightly, but you can't deny that he's done a good job. I think next year is going to be the transitional year now, because I think there's definitely going to be changes. And so I mean, it's been going on for weeks now, like who are Liverpool going to sign and all this nonsense and what have you. I just want to enjoy the last few games of the title and everything, but it seems like there's certainly enough fans around. They seem more interested in who Liverpool's going to sign. So whatever happens with Salah and Van Dijk and what have you, whether they do come back or they don't come back, I mean, Liverpool are going to sign players for sure. And so will they be players that excite the critics or not? I mean, there's obviously been this rumor about Isak and what have you. And then I saw something on the internet the other day. Liverpool aren't going to sign any marquee players this summer. And I mean, when have Liverpool ever signed marquee players? I mean, I can never remember that. I mean, arguably, you could say that Kenny Dalglish was, because he was a big star in Scotland, and he replaced Kevin Keegan. But again, it was a different era, and everything was different. Everything was different. Now there's such expectations on who's going to sign and how good are they and all that kind of stuff. So I think that there'll be some kind of a rebuild next year, which is why I think it'll be transitional. And then it'll be transitional from the point of view that now the team's going to start becoming on a slots team, on a slot squad.
Yeah.
And so I'll be looking to see, how does he move players around? Will he rotate more if he has players that obviously he's involved in terms of signing? Because I have to believe, as I said earlier, that if he's going to chase more than one piece of silverware, then he has to use players more. So fine, if he doesn't trust all the players on the current squad, then he has to bring in players that he does trust. So whatever.
Yeah, Slot generally this year has done a good job kind of learning on the job, right? The Premier League's a different animal, and everything that goes along with it, the media, the scrutiny, the doom and gloom when you lose a game, and all that stuff that kind of goes along with it. It's the world's most popular league for a reason, and I'm just wondering that. We saw an adjustment after the Nottingham game from the South Americans. He made adjustments. I'm just wondering now if, when he reflects at the end of the season, if he's going to show us another facet of his coaching and go up a level by rotating a little bit more and maybe having some of the players that he trusts more in there and it becoming his squad. So the fact is he's done a good job, but it's not his team. And Coach, we remember talking about at the beginning of the season, we were saying patience, everybody, with this, right? And they came out like gangbusters. And now as I kind of mentioned, with Mo potentially leaving and Trent, 3/4 of the way out the door, it's end of an era. And but when one door closes, another one opens. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all shakes out. I think the reason people are talking about next year is because they see this season as kind of wrapped up, right? I was nervous today because I thought, okay, now 9 points. If another slip up, then 6 points, and then they face Arsenal 3. So my mind immediately went like to a crazy place. So when Jota scored, I mean, I was jumping up and down and screaming, and I was just saying, I don't care how we do it today. Like, we just need to get the 3 points and get out of there.
If Liverpool had lost today, It's still 9 points. And that's why I say that if they lose against Fulham at the weekend and Arsenal wins, it's still 9 points. Like you're talking about, Liverpool have to drop 3 games and Arsenal have to win 3 games.
Yeah.
So, and the number of games is dwindling week by week now, and it's going to be very much, as you say, week by week, because Liverpool don't have midweek games anymore.
Well, Coach, another tense derby, but 1-0 victory, 12 points ahead. A lot of things to be excited about, a lot of things to be thankful about the club, the team, the performance this year. And now as we go week by week and, the title gets closer and closer. And really, if you told me at the beginning of the season that we would win the Premier League and that's it, I would have shook your hand and said, yes, okay, I'll take it. So at the end of the day, we're in a good place. So thank you, everybody, for watching the Liverpool Reaction, an American LFC podcast. I did a great job introducing that. I almost lost my mind when I introduced us today. It's been 2 weeks since we've spoken and since we've done the podcast, so it's good to be back here with you, Coach. And we have a game on Saturday. However, I will be out of town, and Coach and I will discuss off air here what we're going to do for the Fulham game, but we'll figure something out for you guys. And as always, thank you for watching and listening. So take care, everybody.
Bye now.